Kalimera, Kalispera, whatever time you're watching this is Mappa. We've got a very special guest on this particular episode. The gentleman that is a match analyst for the Italian under-17 national team, the successful under-17s that won the Euros, which incidentally were in Cyprus. Andrea Loiacono. Did I get it right, Andrea?
Hello. Perfect pronunciation.
That's the thing I was most worried about, getting your surname wrong.
No. Perfect
How are you?
Perfect Italian.
Thank you. Grazie. How are you doing? All good?
Yeah. All good. Now,
how is your head?
Full of emotions in the last weeks, and but now is the time of vacation. So now I'm processing all the emotions, all the things that we lived in the last weeks, in the last month. So everything good, and I'm enjoying this time.
I can imagine. And you being Italian, you working for the Azzurri, it must be a very proud feeling. I know Italians are very patriotic. So to win a tournament, it doesn't matter if it's under 16s, if it's under 10s.
Especially under 17, because this was the first time that Italian national team win an under 17 European Championship. We are the first in history, so it means a lot. And of course, for me, it was a dream work for the national team. So win a trophy is a special feeling. I can imagine. I can imagine already.
Yeah, it's incredible. Well, look, let's talk about your career journey and how you became a match analyst for the under-17s, because as I understand, you've got a coaching background as well. Is that correct?
Yeah. I begin to be a coach here in Bari, in the south of Italy, in local clubs, some local clubs. And then I was only 19 years old when I began to be a coach. And I worked 2 years in a local club with an under 17, and then as a head coach. And then I worked with Bari in 2017, and it was in Serie B at the time. I worked with under 13, but in a professional club, and then I worked with the next season with a first team, but in the lower level, in one of the lower level of football, in sixth division as head coach. And then the year of the COVID, I worked with an under 17, but we cannot finish the league because of the COVID. And then I started posted some works online on LinkedIn, some analysis, and people appreciate my analysis, I think. So I started a course in Coverciano, the center of the federation, and I was, I think, fourth in this course of match analysis, and then I started my journey with the national team, because they called me for a job interview. I was, I think, the youngest in that course. I had a good experience with local teams, good experience as head coach also. So my head of analysis think that I was a good profile for the national team, and then I started with the national team. I worked with a female under 17 the first year, and also the under 15 and under 16. The under 15 of that year was the same group that won the European Championship this year. So I worked under 15, then under 16 and 17 last season, and this season only under 17 with this fantastic group that achieved this success.
Well, that is a very interesting path. And for me, it's even more interesting because you mentioned LinkedIn, and that's how we found each other anyway. So clearly, that platform is very powerful in terms of making your connections and contacts.
Absolutely, because I started to post some analysis, but with no expectation, and I saw that many people liked my analysis. So my thought was maybe I'm good in doing analysis, so I can improve this part of my job, because
Yeah.
I saw the analysis like a natural part of the job of an head coach. And I thought maybe I'm good, I can improve in this, and I started to do courses. I saw everything online, and I think at the end it was a good decision.
Oh, for sure. For
Yeah,
sure. Look at where you are now.
yeah, absolutely.
There you go. Well, let's talk about your job, because I know people that talk about various roles, new roles in football, like, for example, a set piece coach, and you
Yeah,
have throw in coaches. And all of these are important in various elements of the game. But a match analyst role, people will say, well, that just involves watching a lot of football and making notes. But there's more to it than that, isn't there? Can you tell us about your job, what it involves, and how maybe it's different from club football, because international football, different times of years as well, you know?
yeah. How my job is. Of course, watch a lot of game is part of the job. Um, I think the video analyst, the match analyst, the performance analyst, because every country has a different name. For example, in England they call more performance analyst. In Italy
Performance analyst,
we
yeah.
call it match analyst, but at the end is the same. Is like a technical member of the staff. I think that in 2024 the border between the different roles in a coaching staff is thin, um, because I speak the same arguments of the second coach, for example. So we are part of a staff, and everyone does does everything, and everyone does especially a little part. So I watch the opponents, is the main job. Watch the opponents, and I do a video of presentation of all the tactical aspects of the opponent. I do also the video analysis of the single elements of our opponent. I do an inform of every opponent that we played against. But I discuss even of the training, even of the tactics in general of our team. So we discuss everything in the technical stuff. I do more the analysis of the opponent. I do more the analysis of our match, our last match. But in general, we speak in totally free in our stuff. We can discuss everything. The physical coach can speak about tactics. The second coach can speak about the formation. I can speak about the tactics. So is a full exchange of information in our stuff. As a match analyst, obviously, I'm focused on more on the tactics of the opponent, the strategy of the game. So I do an inform to the coach and to the team about how the opponent builds up, how the opponent can attack the defensive line, how the opponent can do the first pressure, and how can defend in a low block, especially these 4 moments of the game. And then I do also an inform of every opponent in a single way, a single video of every opponent, how the center backs defend, how the center backs build up, how the wingers, the full backs. For every role, I do a little inform, a little video about 2 minutes, and I show the video to the direct opponent of our team. So to our strikers, I can explain how the center backs defend, how the center backs builds up, and the same for every role. I can show how the full backs of the opponent build up to our wingers, for example, and so on with other roles. These are the main aspects of my job.
It's very interesting. For me, as a football fan of over 30 years, clearly the game has changed. And I think there's a lot of pressure on people such as yourself to find the footage, to find the information, because it's even the little things that matter. So, for example, if you have, either your opponent has a central defender, the right side of central defense, but he's mostly left-footed, it's these little things that you need to notice, especially patterns, how they build up plays. Is there a specific style that they see frequently? And also the amount of hours of footage that you have to watch, because you can't base your opponent on one game. It has to
No,
be so
we
that is a lot of pressure.
yeah, we see a lot of games, and in the national teams, the video is more important than the clubs, I think, because we have less time to work on the pitch. So you try to find everything that can improve your team on video, because, for example, now in the European Championship, we had only 2 days off between a match and the other, so it is difficult to work on the pitch. We try to work on the video. It's the only thing that we can do. So there is a lot of pressure, but I think is fine. There is a lot of pressure on every member of the staff. Is our job, is part of our job, and uh, I think if you can, if you work in the clubs, in the first teams, in the first national team, is more the pressure. So
Yeah.
I don't feel so much pressure. I see as part of the job. I see as part of the job. Is
Yeah.
natural. It's natural.
Well, the thing is, I do another podcast because I support a club in Cyprus called Omonia Nicosia,
Yeah, I know.
and I I do these mini analysis videos of the previous game. But when
Okay.
I watch the game live, I make notes. So if there's, I don't know, a tackle made in the 3rd minute, I will write it down. If there's a loose pass, or what we call a hospital pass, a pass that puts your teammate in trouble, or when a chance was created, I do these things. I've got 7 or 8 books of notes that I've
Yeah.
made throughout this season. And I take the clips from the games and I show them on the podcast and say, this is what we did. So, for example, we made 18 attacks on the left wing. and in the second half we made 7 attacks on the left wing. So I compare these things, and for one game, 90 minutes or 96 minutes or whatever, you might spend 2 or 3 hours or even 4 hours looking for these specific things. So for you, how many hours on average would you watch for your next opponent? Not for the tournament, but let's say, for example, your next game, Italy are playing, I don't know, Germany. How many hours of footage would you have to watch for Germany?
It depends on how many games we can watch. We have international teams. All the federations are available to share the videos. So especially for the big teams, we have a lot of videos. For example, I make the example of the European Championship. I had 15 games on average for every team, because the European Championship is at the end of the season. So on average, every team played 15 games. Before the tournament, I saw, I think, every game of the 3 opponents of the group. So for every team, I think I worked about 4 or 5 days, 8 hours, not 8 hours, but 6-7 hours a day for 4 or 5 days. I did this thing for the 3 opponents of the group, and also for the 4 opponents of the group D, because we were matched with group D in the quarterfinals.
Right.
So I watched these 7 teams on average 6-7 hours a day for 4 or 5 days. So I started the analysis in March, when we finished the elite round, to
Right.
be for the European Championship. But also the technical stuff, because we share everything. So even our head coach started to watch the opponents in March, when we finished the elite round.
Lovely. And that was kind of like the follow-up to my next question, really. How difficult did it become for you with your analysis as the tournament progressed? Because obviously you've got out of the group stage, but then you got one opponent and the next one. So again, was it difficult?
Not so difficult, because as I said, I watched a lot of games before the tournament. So I was ready when we were at the group stage. I was ready for the quarterfinals, because I saw at home all the teams. So I was ready. I just did a refresh of some clips with the new clips of the tournament. But the big part of the work I already did during the tournament. And in the semifinals, we faced Denmark, and but we played with Denmark in September in a tournament.
Right.
So we already know something about the team, and we saw that they were almost the same of September. So there was not so many things to refresh. And in the final, we faced Portugal, but I already analyzed Portugal for the quarterfinals. So we saw the other 2 games that they played in quarterfinals and semifinals, and but the job was already done. So it was not so difficult. It was not so difficult, and I was lucky, because I had a colleague in Italy that helped us all the stuff. For example, with the individual videos. So it was at home and helped me with all these things, like the most mechanical things of the job. So the throw in, the corner kicks, the penalties, or the individual videos, the individual videos. In this way, I can focus my job more on the tactical part, the collective part, and it was focused more on the individual, more on the free kicks, all these mechanical things. And I was ready and I was focused only on the tactical things of the game, the strategy with the stuff. It was a big help for me.
Well, you clearly did your homework, because in the final you were winning 2-0 after 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. We
There
played
you
that
go.
great final. We played a
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. Absolutely. My friend was at that game. In fact, two of my friends were at that game, and they really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. But in terms of your research, which nations do you think the staff and the players saw as a major threat in the competition?
It's a difficult question, because I think that the level at the, the final tournament, the level is very high. So uh, every team has different different characteristics. So, but every team is very organized. It's very organized. Every team has some strength and some difficulties, but in general, the average of the level is very high. Is very high. In If you look the teams in with the I don't know, in a tactical view, every team is very organized in defensive phase, and all the team knows how to defend, how to attack. They have a clear idea on what to do on the pitch. It's impossible to find bad teams in a tactical at the tactical point. Obviously, the level is different between the teams, in but more on the technical point. So of course, if you face England, Spain, Italy, Portugal, we have on the technical point very good players, but on the tactical point, uh, every team is very, very good in the final competition, uh, because there are only 16 teams. So if they are at the final tournament, they are good in something. You can find, for example, a team that is better in the counter attacks. A team is better in the build up with the goalkeeper, but every team has something. So every team that we faced knows how to do, and studied us very well, I think. So it's difficult to face every opponent at this level.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when you look at the Italian route to the final and eventually winning it, was it you only conceded 2 goals? You scored, how many was it? 16, something like that. 16 goals, if
No,
I'm
I
not
think
mistaken.
no, I think less. I think
Less, 11? Was it 11? No, I
11. I
can't.
think 11, because
11.
we scored 6
11.
in the group stage, one in the quarterfinal, one
In the
in semi-final.
semi-final, yeah.
11, yeah, because and then 3
11.
in
3 in the final, yeah.
so 11.
3 in the final,
11
yeah.
scored and 2 conceded.
Yeah, but it's an incredible record, an incredible run. And the thing is, you played, was it Sweden? You beat 2-1, you beat Denmark 1-0, but you also beat England on penalties. And I think, listen, when it came to penalties against England, there was only one winner, right? because England never win penalty shootouts, and Italy always beat England in penalty shootouts anyway. So
It's always 50-50. Even Italy
of course.
has not a good history in penalties, because between 90, I think the 90
Well, there was Euro. Was it Euro 2000? They lost to
in
Netherlands.
2002 in the World Cup, but
Yeah.
even in 98 in the World Cup,
94 with Baggio.
90. So
Yeah, Argentina.
in 4 World Cups, we lost on the penalties. So it's 50-50. It's 50-50. And
So
England missed only one penalty, so
yeah,
it was very difficult. It was very difficult.
absolutely. Well, if you look at the competition as a whole, which players outside? Because I want to talk about the Italian players as well, because there's one player, I think you know who I'm going to mention, who plays for Milan.
Yeah.
Anyway, but when you look at the other players in the tournament, which ones impressed you throughout the tournament?
Impressed. There were a lot of players. There were a lot of players, really good players. If I think in Portugal, there was Rodrigo Mora or Simoes. They are really good players. I think even England has great players like Nwaneri, Rig, Meuka, Mike Moore. I think this was a really good competition on the technical level. I think that there are a lot of players that in the next 2 or 3 years we can see them on the highest level on Europe, because the level was very high. But for example, Serbia that lost the semi-final in the last 5 minutes. I think that there are really good players even in Serbia. For example, I saw Kvetkovic that scored against us last year, so I remember him very well. I think he's a fantastic player, the striker of Serbia.
Is there a player that plays for Juve? Is he at Czech
No,
Republic?
no. In Czech Republic, yes, there
Yeah,
is Sosna, I think is his name. He plays
I've
for.
heard good things about him.
Yeah, but all the teams has really good players in the final
In the
tournament.
squads, yeah.
Yeah. Because if you are in the final tournament, you beat a lot of teams during the seasons. So of course you are good. Of course you have really good players. Every team.
Excellent. Well, there's one player I want. Obviously, there are loads of players that played well for the Azzurri, but Gamada, the striker at Milan, he was sensational in the final. He had a good tournament as well. But there's other players that did well. Liberali, I believe, had a good one. Caletta had a good tournament. In fact, everyone had a good tournament. But obviously, the man that scored twice in the final is going to get a lot of the attention. What can you tell us about this player?
First of all, he's a fantastic guy. And he's polite, he's friendly with his teammates, and I think that for us 16 years old, this is the most important thing, because he's a good guy. At football level, is obviously a great player. Is obviously a great player because he's 2008, so he's under 16.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
He's under 16. Is of course he has. Is in this moment, of course, at the mediatic level is the most is the most important player of our team, but is also very very young. So I think in this moment we need to wait. We need to protect him, and we don't do the error to put too much pressure on him. So he needs to improve. He needs to continue to play with Milan, with the national team, and he needs to do all the steps to be a professional footballer. We don't need to put too much pressure on him, because he needs, because he needs time to be a
Yeah,
professional footballer. So if you don't do all the steps, it is difficult. So step by step, he can improve. He can reach the highest level, because of course he has a lot of quality, but
yeah.
we need to be patient with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's very important because we've seen over the years in these tournaments, the under 19s, under 17s, players have been sensational. And then afterwards, their careers take a nosedive for whatever reason, whether it be injury or just not being able to cope with the pressure or just bad luck. So
Yeah,
patience is very important. I think it's very important. And you can't expect too much. And as you said, he's 16, 17.
yeah,
He's still a kid.
so yeah. We don't put we don't need to put too much pressure on him, because he's young. He needs to enjoy this moment, but
Yeah.
in the right way, in the right way.
Of course, absolutely, absolutely. Well, moving on, going back to your job, how has technology changed the way that you work? Because we have the introduction of AI and other statistical analysis software. How has this changed your role? Has it made it easier, more enjoyable, or is it a little bit tiring, all these different software updates you get?
uh, Technology. We have analysis department, data analysis department in federation, that helps us in the analysis of the opponent, but even the analysis of our team. And of course, all these datas improve our job, because the data can complete our analysis, can improve our analysis, because it's more deep, the analysis, when you have the video and also the data. um, I think that the journey is read the data in the right way. So if you, for example, the data of the ball recovery in the opponent's half is a data that we uses a lot, because we want to bring pressure on the ball. We want to press high, so we see many times this data. But if you see that the ball recovery in the opponent's half is not good in some games, um, you cannot say that that was a bad game only because you saw the data. You need to read the data, and to read the data in that game, because many times you play with teams that that shot the ball
Hmm.
on the strikers. They don't build up.
Yeah.
They don't do a construction phase. So of course the data of ball recovery in opponent's half is low in that game. So you need to read this. You need to read in a tactical view the data. That is the journey. I don't know if you understand, because
No, I do. I completely understand
yeah,
completely, because I wanted to ask you very quickly about XG. Do you know about XG? Have you heard of? I'm sure you heard about that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that important for your role? Because you hear all these different phases now: expected goals, and then there's another one called, was it
The, the,
uh,
the,
tilt, full tilt, or something like this. I don't know what this means anymore. I don't know what football's become. So things like XG, does that matter to you? Because you've got the data on how players
yeah,
play and you see it. So
the XG can complete the analysis, but I know if we had a lot of chances, I don't need to watch the XG. So if
yeah,
we had a lot of shots in the opponent's half, in the area of the opponent, of course we had a lot of chances. I don't need to watch the XG. So all the data can improve our analysis, but you cannot watch only the data, of course. You need to watch the game, and you can improve the analysis with data. But of course, the most important thing in our job is, for me is our eyes.
yeah, for sure, absolutely, absolutely. Well, look, speaking of our eyes and what we see, the Cyprus national team is not good. Is not good. And the under-17 struggled, and I think it is because of underinvestment by the Cypriot FA. I think that there are many talented players that can qualify to play for Cyprus. If you look at the diaspora, for example, lots of British Cypriots, American Cypriots, Australian Cypriots. How important is it for smaller nations like Cyprus, or maybe even Malta, or other smaller nations that have players that qualify for citizenship outside of the country? How important is it for them to bring them in, do you think?
I don't know the situation of Cyprus football, of course. Uh, I can only say that we faced under 17 of Cyprus last season. We played in Paphos the elite round, and
Hmm.
I saw a really good team. We won 2-1. We won 2-1, but Cyprus could score a goal in the last minute. So for me, it was a good team. They play in a really good way. I think the coach was Karampidis
Okay. Can't be this, yeah. Yeah.
last season. This season, honestly, I don't know the situation of under 17. I saw only 2 or 3 games because they played with our opponents. I think that in 2024 the scouting area is absolutely important, but not only for the smaller nations like Cyprus or other. I think is very important for every country. For example, Emmanuel Benjamin was our right back. He's half Brazilian and half Italian, and he plays for Real Madrid. So he doesn't play in Italy, and we discovered him at the middle of the season, thanks to our scouting area. So I think it's absolutely important for every country. For every country. If you see, for example, Albania in the European Championship now, they have a lot of players that are half Albanian and half German, for example, half Albanian and half Swiss. So they have a really, really good scouting area in Albania, and you can see the results now on the European Championship, for example.
Of course. And I'll be honest with you, while the national team isn't doing so well, at least we're seeing players from Cyprus go to bigger nations. For example, my friend Angelo Neofidou, he's at Sassuolo, and I think they won the Primavera. I think did they win Primavera?
Yeah. Is the under-19 championship in Italy.
Yeah, so he's joined them last summer and he's done well this season. We've got a player at, I think, Genoa. We have a player at Torino up front, the striker. So there are many Cypriot players leaving to go to Italy, the Netherlands, even Belgium, but the national team is struggling. And there are various reasons, which I'm not gonna go into, but I think we are doing something right for now, but more needs to be done, I believe, anyway. And you mentioned, going to.
I don't know, but I think that if there are good players that now are moving abroad, the results on the national team, you can see the results on the national team in the next years. Of course, it's not in a short-term period that you see the results for me. So is more a long-term period that you can see all these results of these players that's going abroad.
Yeah, takes time. You mentioned the facilities before because you said you played at Buffer's facilities, which have been completely redeveloped. It's incredible what Buffer have done. Now, I know that some other Cypriot clubs have improved their training facilities, but a lot are still struggling, a lot of trailing behind, so to speak. What did you notice about the facilities in Cyprus while you were there throughout the tournament?
We were last season in Paphos, and now we were in Ayanapa training center.
Okay.
Of course, I saw good facilities. Of course, even last season in Paphos, and this year was the same in Ayanapa. I think that there are like 13 pitches in their center. So for me, I found very good facilities. I don't know the situation in general in Cyprus, but in Ayanapa and in Paphos, I saw really good training centers.
What about the stadiums? Because you played at the Alfa Mego in Limassol for the final. I think one game at the AEK Arena. I think
we played 2 games in AEK Arena.
Yeah,
really good stadium, absolutely. And then we played the game with Slovakia, but I don't know, in Aknas.
Oh, okay, yeah, the Sagi, yep.
Yeah, it's a good stadium, small stadium, but
not UEFA level.
No, for me, there was a really good pitch, and it is a normal stadium, small stadium, but all the locker rooms were new, so a really good stadium, even that one. And then we played the quarterfinals even in AEK Arena, and then in the stadium of the semi-final in the stadium of Anorthosis.
Oh, Andonis Papadopoulos. Okay.
Yeah. And I appreciate that stadium because you can see the history of the club. So I appreciate a lot that stadium. And then the final in the Alfa Mega Stadium. I think is one of the best stadium in Cyprus now, the Alfa Mega.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's the new one. It was finished there. I think they opened it in December, so it's still brand new. But when you look at the AEK Arena and the Alfa Mega, they're 2 new stadiums, and then you see the Sagi and you see Anorthosis, the old stadiums. I like the old stadiums. I think there's, you feel you can smell the pitch. I think, yeah.
No. Especially the Anorthosis Stadium. I like it very, very much because you can see the history of the club, the history of Cyprus. So I appreciate a lot to play in that stadium.
Fantastic. Well, Andrea, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. It's great to talk to you. Before I let you go, are you on are you on Twitter, X, anything like that you want to promote?
Yeah,
or?
I'm on X, on Instagram, on LinkedIn.
Oh, you're on Instagram. I'll find you on Instagram. Don't worry. I'll find you on Instagram.
Yeah. I'm on all these platforms. So
Lovely. Well, brilliant. Thank you again for your time. And boys and girls, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to visit our website, www.nc-network.com. And we'll be back very, very soon. Until next time, adios.